Scott Schiller for Ron Fitzpatrick Jeep Parts and Team G503 here on YouTube. We've been doing a series of electrical harness components, piece by piece, part by part, for the 1943 Willys MB. In this video, I'm going to show you how to wire up the instrument panel lights. We're going to do these each section at a time, and then at the end, when we've got them all finished and all shot, I'm going to compile them all together into making one long video. But I figured it'd be nice to do just section by section, and that way it'll simplify everything and make it really easy to install the harness. Let's check it out. We'll be installing the instrument panel light harness in this video, and I've got this new switch here, part number A1333 from Joe's Motor Pool and Ron Fitzpatrick Jeep Parts, and I've got the lower part of my bulb housings here, and then I've got the harness itself, and that's part number A1411, the instrument panel lamp harness, and there is the diagram on how we need to hook it up. Before we get started, there's a little bit of disassembly that needs to be done to the new switch. There's a small set screw on the bottom of the knob, as I'm showing you right here. You need a small screwdriver, slotted screwdriver, to loosen that up. You don't have to remove the set screw, just loose enough where you can spin the knob off. The knob itself is threaded onto the switch, and it just comes off counterclockwise like this, and we'll remove that. And then behind there's a couple of fasteners we have to remove as well. As you can see here, we've got a nut and we've got a lock washer that's on there. I'm using an adjustable set of pliers here. They don't have any teeth on them though, so they're not going to damage anything. Once you remove the nut, there's a lock washer that's behind there. Now when we put this onto the Jeep, I'll tell you ahead of time that the nut goes on the outside of the dashboard and the lock washer is going to go behind there, but I'll show you that here in a second. Notice also the flat spot on the top of those threads, and that's also going to help us when we install the switch. We'll take a look at the actual harness itself here. You notice there's two sockets on one end, and then on the other end, the two wires are held together with one terminal. The wires are blue with two white tracers on them. And I'm going to orient this switch exactly as it's shown in the diagram. So I'm going to remove the screw on my left-hand side as it's oriented to me, and then I'm going to install it onto the terminal at the opposite end of where the two sockets are. There's a small star washer that goes between the terminal end and the head of the screw. Once you get that started in there, I put fasteners on before I attach them. We'll go ahead and we'll attach it to the terminal on the switch. I'm installing the wire or tightening it down at a 90-degree angle to the switch itself, or straight off the post as you see here. We'll set this little assembly aside for the time being, and then we'll go ahead and install the lower parts of the bulb housings into the dashboard. The bulb housings themselves are two pieces. I just have the lower part here. As you see, the little tangs are on the end, and they simply push into the cutouts that are on the dashboard. They're a little difficult at first, but once you get them lined up, they push in pretty easily with your palm. There are two of them, one on the driver's side and one on the passenger side. I'll show you the location here. And at the time being, I'm not going to install the tops. I'm waiting on the bulbs to come in order, and we're going to do a whole video on just the bulbs for the Jeep in the future. We're going to go now underneath the dashboard, and where we attached our first part of the series here in the electric, we attached our wiring harness to the switch, and you'll see this little short wire come off the light switch there. It's a blue wire again with the two white tracers. Our panel lights are going to get their power from the HT marked side of the main switch. We'll attach that connection to the opposite leg of the one we installed already. This is where it's going to get a little bit fun, and I want to show you this. Remember I talked about the flat spots in the switch itself. If you look here on the panel where it goes, there's a flat spot on the bottom side of that hole. When we install the switch, we'll install it with one of the flat spots on that flat spot. Also, we will keep the legs or the wires going upwards towards the top of the cowl. First, install the lock washer. That's going to hold it tight from the back side. I'm going to zoom in real close here and show you the flat spot I'm speaking of. Just go ahead and pull the switch through the hole. After that, we're going to install the nut. If you look closely at the nut, there's like a little radius, or I'll call it a shoulder, on the side that's towards my hand. The flatter side of that nut goes to the dashboard. Holding the switch from the back side of the dashboard, go ahead and give this a couple turns now and snug it up really nice and tight. I'm turning these really slowly because I don't want to slip and scratch my paint. Once it's nice and tight, we'll just give it a little test, make sure it goes in and out, and it's just off and on. And then we'll get our knob that we left put aside and have the set screw in still. It threads back onto the switch going clockwise. It takes a couple of turns to get that snugged back down. Now once we get to the end, if we've got this installed correctly, the panel light logo, our writing on the knob there, should be facing close to strapping down. You see if I fully tighten it, it only goes a little bit past. I'm going to turn that back and give it a good eyeball there against the bottom to make sure panel lights is nice and level and straight. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to reset the set screw with my small screwdriver. That's what keeps the knob itself from unthreading off the switch. After I've got that all nice and tight, I'm going to reach down here underneath the dashboard, and we've got our two socket wires that are hanging there. Again, they're blue with double white markers on there. I'm not pulling out the hole here. I just wanted you to see those wires, colors, and the tracers before I put them in. So then we'll go back through the speedometer opening. This is really nice to work without any of the gauges in. And then each one of those sockets goes into the back side of those housing we installed on the dash earlier. You'll pull them through and they'll work through so you've got the whole socket outside of that housing there. It doesn't matter which wire you use in either socket because they're both the same length. Once again, when I get the bulbs, I'm going to do a whole bulb series on all the bulbs around Jeep and how they function and how they work. So for the time being, I'm just going to leave these two leads as where they are. Thank you for watching. Again, I've got bulbs coming, and we'll do that whole bulb thing in the future. I had to order some special ones, and I'm going to show you how each individual one goes, especially in those tail lights. That's going to be something interesting in itself, so stay tuned. If you would like to subscribe, you can do so by clicking that subscribe button down there, and also hit that little bell button so you will be notified when we release new videos. Until next time, my friends, keep it safe, keep the smoke in the wire, somebody said that to me today, and happy Jeep.